Hey everybody, don't you just hate Patti Smith? This is Reservations, and I'm Jeremy Blair.
And I'm Ray Wayland. Of course, the YouTube audience isn't going to get that.
I know. Go to the podcast.
Just for 5 seconds.
Yeah, and just listen. It's the Patti Smith version of...
well, you know, it's funny you lead with that, because I was going to open the episode with fuck Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
I don't know why. So I don't know if you know... Well, you probably don't, because you don't spend as much time on YouTube as I do. But
that's true.
You know, but YouTube now has like a music section for like music videos you may have seen, and pretty much curating like, oh, you might like this too.
Got it.
When I was kind of looking through mine, and they like recommended a Limp Bizkit video, and I was like, what is this garbage? Of course, this is a like
is
one
it
of their
new stuff?
No, it's My Way, which I've never heard. Look, listen.
I'm not familiar with their discography.
Neither of mine. Fuck Limp Bizkit. And I started watching it, and the whole I was just like, this is what? And all I could think of was fucking the Deadpool line. Now I'm gonna do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the 2000s.
So like, okay. So the reason why like I have such beef
with Patti Smith
is no, I just don't jive with their music. Like, I mean,
well,
if you're gonna
heard of her.
If you're gonna listen to music like that, I mean, you might as well just listen to like Joni Mitchell or something. You know what I mean? Like, you're better off. But
so what kind of music is that? Because I've never heard.
So it's sort of like folk, sort of like alternative folk. So she was traveling with Bob Dylan during the Rolling Thunder review. And so the documentary, which is on Netflix, and it's this Martin Scorsese,
of course,
the
it's
Rolling Thunder, and it's also on the Criterion Collection, which I have.
Oh, that's right.
They show like a little small concert that they're doing, and we're gonna get to the movie in a minute.
Hang on, everyone.
They do this small little venue or whatever, and Patti Smith gets up and she's doing like this weird stream of consciousness story song thing, and it's just like first off, it's awful. Second, it's like I think they're confusing talent with undiagnosed autism because it's like to anybody else, like, you know, if I were to go up and do the exact same thing, people would be like, this is ridiculous. What is happening right now? It's so dumb. But when she's up there, people are like, oh, this is so good. No, it isn't. It's just, you know, pretentious bullshit.
Well, it's my same thing with Limp Bizkit. People mistake it for good music. And if you want good new metal, listen to early Linkin Park.
Wow.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh,
Limp
my
Bizkit.
God.
And Fred Durst, how dare you? How dare you waste our fucking time with some stupid ass movie by casting John Travolta, that crazy asshole, in a movie about crazed fans?
Did you watch it?
Fuck no.
Okay.
It has a rotten like 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty much saying that Travolta tries his hardest, but the movie sucks.
Yeah.
Because fuck you, Fred Durst.
Oh my God.
Did he see all of Rob Zombie's movies and was like, hey, Rob Zombie's a rock star. I'm a rock star. I can make movies. No, fuck you. You can't.
Hey man, he's just trying to do it for the nookies. So, all right. So, speaking of pretentious, today
Yes,
we are discussing Darren Aronofsky's Mother.
And you should be sorry for what you've done to me.
I should be sorry for
Call back to last week's episode.
Call back to last week's episode. So, I guess just like first thoughts. Rain, you had never seen it before.
Okay. So
how'd it go?
Okay, so yes, I had never seen it before because, as I told you and the audience last week, I actively have avoided this movie because I remember when it first showed up on when I really got into IMDb, and I remember getting a notification about when the first trailer dropped, and I was looking at the poster and I was like, that looks like Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
And then I clicked on it. I was like, oh, it is Jennifer Lawrence. And I saw it was a horror. And this was during my really weird period where I was I stayed away from horror.
Horror's a stretch, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't think it should have been marketed as a horror movie, but it said it was a horror. And I was just like, I didn't have the love that I have for horror that I did back then when the movie was first coming out.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, and I'm just going to stay away from that. And then I just remember everyone talking about it, saying like that. I heard both sides. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's awful. It's the worst movie I've ever seen. I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this movie? So I looked it up. I read the entire plot, and I was like, wait a minute.
I think it's got. Was it okay? Tell me this. Was it different experience watching it than reading it? Like, did you get more out of it watching it?
A little bit.
Okay, well,
yeah,
then that's
but
worth it, I guess.
I'm going to go ahead and preface this now, as
Okay.
I told you yesterday.
Yeah.
We are going to have another counter because I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's my turn now. I get it. But yeah, you know, I got it more watching it than reading it. Reading it, I was a little bit more confused and like,
Yeah.
wait, what? Like, why? And then, of course, I read about the infamous baby sequence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that just kind of turned me off. I was like, I don't want to see a baby get killed or then mutilated. Spoilers.
This whole thing is spoilers.
Yeah. And then, but the only scene I saw is when Jennifer Lawrence gets the shit beat out of her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought two things. I remember seeing it. I was like, one, like, how did, of course, this is before I knew who Darren Aronofsky was. So I was like, how the fuck did the director do this? Because it's very visceral.
Yeah. Also dating Jennifer
They were
Lawrence at the
dating?
time.
No shit.
Yeah.
But first of all, how did he do it? Because it looks very realistic. I mean, she gets kicked in the face, she gets punched, she gets
Yeah.
all kinds of shit. And then second of all, I thought, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And then I found an article talking about the allegory of it. So, initial thoughts watching it. Going into it, of course, I knew what was going to happen. Yeah. I knew the metaphor, I got it. But then actually seeing it, I was just like I was telling you yesterday, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I enjoy the movie?
Okay.
I trusted Aronofsky because I did really love Requiem. Of course, as shout out to our Requiem episode, the last 30 minutes gives me a fucking anxiety attack. But I still love it.
Yeah.
So I trusted him completely.
It's definitely, I mean, Requiem is one of his best. I would say also The Wrestler is one of his best. The Wrestler is just like a straight drama. Like, there's nothing weird about it.
Yeah. But you know, the cinematography was amazing. But I agree with you, which I know we'll get into here in a little bit. There's no plot. It is this sort of nonsensical allegory. Yeah,
the events serve the metaphor, not the other way around. So
yeah, as where, you know, most other movies, I'm trying to think of some, you know, I don't know why. The only one I'm really thinking about is, oh, you know what? Because Ashley and I were just talking about it last night. Granted, it's sort of a retelling, West Side Story, because telling her about how the fucking subtitles.
Yeah, the trailer subtitles.
West Side Story is sort of a retelling of Romeo and Juliet set in more of a quote unquote contemporary setting.
Was a contemporary setting in 1961, but
yeah, but 50. It takes place in the 50s because it first.
Well, it came out in 1961.
No, it came out in 1957. The original Broadway show was.
The Broadway show.
Because anyway, but yeah, you know, and I didn't. Of course, I didn't know anything about West Side Story, but I was like, oh, now that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah, there's some great songs in there. There's Maria. There's Somewhere. Right. There's,
never heard a single thing.
Are you serious? All right. Well.
Sorry, Hannah. I guess we have to pause so Jeremy can hit me. But yeah, no, yeah. This one has no plot devices per se.
Yeah, I mean, it is literally just to serve the allegory and serve the metaphor. So if you don't know who these people represent, then it's nonsense.
Now, I want to get this out of the way first.
Sure.
Just because I 100% disagree, mainly with the wording.
Okay.
When Jennifer Lawrence was promoting the film, how she said it was the torment and rape of Mother Earth. Why rape?
I think, you know, well, first off, I think a lot of it has to do with Aronofsky's passion, and sort of passion is putting it lightly, for, you know, preserving the earth and, you know, what humans are doing. And so, remember, they were dating.
That's true.
So he is transferring this anger and passion to Jennifer Lawrence at the time.
Yeah,
and so,
I mean,
rape is, of course, a strong word, and I'm sure she meant it at the time. Maybe she doesn't anymore. Who knows? But I think that's just that anger. It's just transference from Aronofsky to Lawrence.
And again, I get it.
Yeah.
Because I agree. We need, we have one Earth. We need to preserve it. But I mean, rape is just
Yeah, I know.
such a harsh word.
It was harsh wording.
There's only thing worse than a rapist.
A child.
A child. It just, like, if she said, like, torment and destruction, I'd been like, yes, 100%. I don't know. Rape. I just wanted to get that out now, because
Sure.
I disagree with the wording. But,
Okay.
okay, Jeremy. So,
Movie time.
movie time. Do you want to talk about the allegory first, or just the events that... Or, I mean, there's no way to talk about the events without discussing the allegory, as we just said.
So, yeah, let's just do both.
Okay.
So, Javier Bardem is God.
God. Right. We should mention, no one in the movie is directly said who they are.
Right. No names, just titles most of the time. So.
Yes, yeah. If you look at the cast list on IMDb, Javier Bardem is just credited as him.
Capitalized.
And Jennifer Lawrence is credited as mother, lowercase.
Yeah, everybody else is lowercase. He is capitalized. So, or him is capitalized. And so, which, of course, if you know your Bible, all references with pronouns to God
Or capitalized.
Are capitalized.
Yep.
So, okay, so he's God. I'm going to talk about things that I really do like about the movie, because there are things I don't, but overall I do like the movie. So, things that I like. I like that you find out later, but this is a cycle that is just constantly repeating itself. And it's almost portraying God as, someone who makes mistakes and is, and just can't get it right. Right. Or is doing a disservice to his creations, right?
Was this before or after Aronofsky did Noah?
This is after.
So he was really on a God kick.
He was on a God kick, yeah, big time. Noah's not great either.
I heard it got a lot of hate.
There's stuff I really like about it.
From, like, Bible thumpers.
There's stuff I like about it, but overall it's just like, ugh. I saw it mainly because Emma Watson was in it. And
and you're madly in love with Emma Watson.
Yeah, it was.
We're sorry, Haley.
Yeah, it was. I am madly in love with Haley, but
Secretly.
No. Okay, so he's got Jennifer Lawrence is
Mother Earth.
The house is Earth. Right.
Oh, see, I kind of saw that as like Eden.
The house is Earth. His office is Eden.
Oh.
So here's some cool stuff. So here's some cool attention to detail. So when Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer go and they break his rock,
his dark crystal.
It's right. It's a heart. It's a heart. We don't know that yet.
You're right.
And so when they break it, he casts them out of his office. Right?
Yes.
And then completely
Boards
shuts it off, and then breaks off the door handle, right, or the doorknob.
Yeah, it breaks off.
Now, here's something that I like.
Okay, tell me this thing.
Is the attention to detail of Cain's killing Abel, right, which is the two brothers, uses that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that's what he'd grabbed until he dropped it.
And so he's using what God used to keep them out, right? Mm-hmm. Or what Javier Bardem used to keep them out, to kill his brother, right?
Yeah.
That I like. I like little attention to details like that. It's really kind of cool. But
yeah, well, and like I said, I didn't notice that that's what he had grabbed until it was over, and then he dropped it, and I was like, oh. I also do kind of like that. Because it almost also kind of puts, not necessarily the blame, but sort of on Mother, because she had picked it up and put it there.
Right.
But she was almost indirectly responsible.
Yes. Of course, these are one of the actors is someone we know very well, Gleason.
Yeah. Yes, Future Rain will probably put his full name up, but we're just gonna call him Dom.
Yeah, I've seen him in a bunch of things. Black Mirror, he's in an episode of that. Star Wars, the new stuff, he's in. Ex Machina.
He's also in Frank.
Yes.
With Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
For sure, a future episode.
Oh, Frank, yeah.
I really like that one.
Frank is really good.
He's also in The Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2. He's Fred. He's a
Weasley.
He's one of the older Weasley brothers. He's not I think he's George. I don't think he's Charlie.
George. George is one of the twins.
No, not George. Yeah, that's right. Because there's Charlie and he's Bill. We never meet Charlie. Sorry, little Harry Potter nerd right there. But no, he's Bill because we've never met Charlie.
Got it.
But anyway.
But
yes.
So I like that. So if you're looking at this thing as face value, right? So let's say you and I have never heard any of these Bible stories before. This would make no sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
We were. Yeah. You were telling me that yesterday, and I was like, oh yeah, it.
Right.
Really wouldn't.
But I kind of wish I didn't know, because it would be more fun to find out afterward. Like, that's who these people were, right?
Right.
That's when the brothers show up. That's when at the theater. That's when it clicked. I go,
Like,
I see.
It's Cain and Abel.
I see what's going on.
Adam and Eve.
Right. Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. I got it. Okay. And so the events there on out, I was like, all right. Now the Bible stuff sort of, it doesn't stop there, because then you get into like Sodom and Gomorrah, like the Israelites, like because
with the whole the last 30 minutes of the movie when just all hell breaks
right
loose.
Then you get some weird stuff going on, but see, that's supposed to represent like modern times. The stuff, the wake is supposed to be like the stuff that builds up to the flood, right? Which, this is the part I didn't like. I didn't like that. I think somewhere I read that the sink breaking is supposed to represent the flood because it got everybody out of the house.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't like that, but it's just because I guess I don't like the way he went about it. Right?
Yeah.
So, again, lots of things represent other things, right? And, of course, on their own, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
Which, again, is a problem. Right?
Yeah. It takes surrealism almost out of the picture when you really think about how, if you didn't know any of this, it's nonsense.
Right. Because it is super surreal if you don't know what's going on, but once you do, it's not, because it's just
you're just like,
it's just representation, right? Yeah. It's just metaphor, and so, which again is fine, but it doesn't help people who don't know the stories, right?
Right.
This, it would have been cool if he would have added an extra layer to it, and instead of just the one layer, and let's, everyone's almost wearing a cardboard or like a piece of paper or a name tag.
And it says, "Hello, my name is God."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It might as well be what it is, right?
Yeah.
I also thought about this when I was watching it, that it would be a really cool play.
It would be.
In a sense, because it really just takes place in the central location. So it's not like a bunch. There's not a lot of locations, right?
Yeah,
just
there
rooms.
wouldn't be. There would be some.
It would be difficult.
Some set changing, but
I thought it'd make a cool play, because there's for a while there's not a lot of people there. So that brings me to this, which is the first 30-40 minutes is really boring, and I think it takes a lot of people out of it.
I wasn't really bored. I was looking out for, like what you had said last week, like it's very awkward in the beginning. I didn't feel it was awkward. I just felt like it was more...
It's uncomfortable. I think it's uncomfortable, and which these things that make it uncomfortable are ramped up a lot, which is basically, it's almost disrespecting Jennifer Lawrence, which is, it's her house.
Which, I get it.
Right. No, but I'm saying, like, on a face value.
Right.
On face value, they're, just walking into her house. They're, blaming her for stuff like the pan, right? It's not her fault that,
Michelle Pfeiffer grabbed it after she literally sees her reach for it and goes, ah.
But again, this is no one's listening.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Eye roll.
We get it.
No one's listening to her. And they're just doing whatever they want, basically. Right?
Yeah.
And he's saying it's okay. Right? That's another thing. Right?
Yeah.
So this is also an indictment on God, but that's a whole whole other thing.
Yeah. Just to get it out of the way, Aronofsky pretty much says God doesn't really care.
God shouldn't have let us do this to Mother Earth. Okay, so I get it.
Good. So last week, if anyone watched Tron Legacy all the way through, we said I get it 15 times. I have a feeling it's going to be much higher this time.
Possibly. So, let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
So when it's just Ed Harris there, love Ed Harris.
Oh, absolutely. Ed Harris he's the best.
Yeah. Did you notice the wound?
Yes, I did.
It's supposed to be his rib, right? Mm-hmm. So, go ahead.
Well, actually, that's the one thing I didn't get.
Oh, okay.
I knew it had some biblical meaning, but I was just like, but Adam wasn't a martyr, though.
No, but...
And so I was just like, it probably means something.
Yeah, so it's his rib. In the Bible...
God gave his rib to create Adam.
To create Eve.
Oh, that's right.
So it took Adam's rib to create Eve.
That's right. See...
And so after that...
I'm outing myself as I haven't read my own Bible.
And so after that, Michelle Pfeiffer shows up, right?
Yeah.
And so I guess what makes it even weirder is that there's no roads or anything to lead to this house. And so if you're looking at it as face value, you're just like, how are they getting to the house? It doesn't make
How
any
are they
sense.
finding... Yeah, especially because Ed Harris says, oh, they told me I could have... There's a room here.
Like, who said? And
Who said?
Right.
There's no road. I get it.
Yeah, God said. So... I really do. Honestly, I like this movie. I'm just, I'm playing both sides of this.
Yeah. Aaron, this is the one episode Aronofsky watches, and he's like,
I know.
Oh my God, pick a side.
Yeah, I know. I can't.
Did you like the movie?
Did you or did you not? Now, that's probably one of the things I gravitate towards is movies with clear splits, right?
Yeah.
You either absolutely love it or you despise it. That's the stuff I'm really into. So
That's why I said because I appreciated the cinematography. I mean, I guess I appreciated the allegory. I get it. I get it. But would I watch it again willingly? Probably not.
I have watched.
I know you have
willingly. Because again, it's the craziness that I really like, which we'll get to. But all right, so the rib stuff is crazy. The symbol on his lighter means something too. I read that, and I don't remember exactly.
Oh, I didn't even.
You barely see it.
Yeah, you see it twice.
Which is not even full on see it, and so it's like it's not worth digging into it much further. But that also means I don't know. It means something. But okay, so we got through Michelle Pfeiffer's. We got through the kids. And so then it's the wake. So the wake is...
Oh, something I did really like
go ahead.
About the Cain and Abel fight is when him grabs, as they just call him, the oldest son, he throws him and his head hits the mantle and he's got a mark.
Yeah.
And because in the Bible it says God marked Cain to know that was him.
It's good, right?
And I was like... Okay, that's pretty good.
It's good.
That's pretty good.
It's good in what it's trying to represent. Again, if, our, atheist audiences, Muslim audiences, Jewish audiences, Jewish would know. Because the Old Testament. Their stops at home. Trying to think of more religions right now, and I can't because I live in West Texas.
Well, there's Hindu.
Hindi, that's what I was going to do.
There's I don't know what religion Asian countries have.
Wow, that's really racist.
The whole continent is called Asia.
That's really racist. Greek Orthodox, these
punch you in the face.
These audiences aren't going to be like, oh, I see.
God marked Cain. That's right.
Again, but for us, it was like, oh, cool.
I did, like I said, I did enjoy that. Yeah. Again, I get it. But that was cool because it was very natural.
Yeah.
Because he hits a glass and the glass cuts him.
Yeah.
But because
he did it.
Because he did it,
right.
It was him marking him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it was a clever way to get around it.
Yeah.
Right. Some of this stuff is clever, right? The sink breaking is not clever to me, but...
Especially because I found that to be very annoying because the whole time she's like, please don't sit on that.
Well, okay, so here is...
And then they intentionally do it. Like fucking children. But again, I get it.
That's what... Hey, Rain, that's what we're doing to the world. That's what we're doing to Earth right now.
We're breaking sinks?
We know that it's bad for the Earth, but we're doing it anyway. So, all right, for our own gain, for our own selfish reasons, Rain. Did you not get that?
Wait, is that why Jeff Bezos wanted to go to space?
Oh my God. So one of my dad's big problems in movies in general is a loss of control. Well, I'll give you a great example.
Okay.
So this is a phenomenal example. This is why he hates the movie so much, is because no one's listening to her. She doesn't have control of her surroundings. It's her house. Why isn't she being more assertive? Why isn't she kicking them out? Another example of this for, if you don't want another example, would be the car accident scene in Nocturnal Animals.
Mm-hmm.
When
they pretty much just kind of force
and
Jake Gyllenhaal.
And Jake Gyllenhaal's really not doing anything to stop it. He's losing control of the situation.
Shout out to our season 2 premiere.
Revenge by Proxy.
2 years ago.
So that's a good example. Of course, movies are filled with stuff like this.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And it's funny you bring up loss of control, because that is something I have a hard time with myself. It doesn't completely take me out of whatever I'm watching, whether it be a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
But I do have a problem. I noticed relating to the character that's actually causing it. Like as I mentioned in, like when we did Funny Games.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like it when it turns on our hero.
That's one that I was...
Of course, I loved Funny Games.
I showed Dad Funny Games, and that's the one thing I was terrified of. I'm like, listen, I want you to see it because it's cool.
Did he like it?
I think he did. But I warned him first, and so I think that time he was like, okay, I just need to
brace myself for it. Yeah.
Because they're not going to have control of their surroundings. Like,
yeah,
literally not even time, right?
Yeah. Of course, that's a bad example for me because I loved Funny Games.
Right.
But
you see what I mean.
But I do see what you mean. Now, for this movie,
it makes the movie very uncomfortable. At least maybe I feel that way because I am feeding off Dad's energy.
Maybe.
And I know exactly what makes him uncomfortable.
Maybe the whole time I was watching it, I was a little bit like, yeah, why isn't she being more assertive? But it wasn't taking me out of it because also the whole time I was watching it was like, yeah, I get it.
It's because she can't be, because the Earth can't talk to us.
Wait, it can't?
Just by its reactions.
But no, like... But that's why it didn't bother me that she had no control. Because I was like, yeah, I get it. The Earth has no control. The Earth can't necessarily fight back against what we're doing. Yeah, I get it, Aronofsky.
See, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with this film is that once you unlock it, it's super heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. And if you watch it with subtitles on, it gives it away quicker.
Does it?
Because it says who's talking.
Oh,
so
that sucks.
Kristen Wiig, it says the Herald.
Yeah.
And him and mother, and man and woman and eldest son and yeah. So it gives it away quicker. So if you watch it with subtitles, of course, granted, I knew going into who everyone was, but. But still, if someone has never seen this movie and they watch it with subtitles, there you go. You'll probably figure it out pretty quickly.
So here's where the movie gets really good for me, and that I am obsessed, is when he writes his piece. So
yes, when she gets pregnant the very next day after having sex.
Okay, first off, people laughed out loud in the movie theater when she goes, "I'm pregnant."
How do you know? I just know.
No, it was just the "I'm pregnant."
Oh,
people laughed out loud.
Oh, when she wakes up and she's like,
because, they're like, this bitch crazy, get her out of here, bro. Like, you gotta get rid of her, bro. That bitch trying to suck you in, homie. That's what it was. But of course, I got it.
I got it.
And so I was like, no, that's not what she means. Like, nothing is what they mean, So I gave that slack. I was like, that's fine. That doesn't bother me.
But yeah, so
when he writes his piece, then the surrealism kicks in because everything moves very fast. Right.
Yeah, it's almost like this time dilation.
Yes, and which
happens.
Which I love. I love manipulation of time in this way, where what would normally take days takes minutes.
Yeah.
Right. Which is, he finished it. She read it. The publisher already got it. They're sending people over. These things would happen days and weeks later, but it's happening in minutes, which I really enjoy. And so
the only thing that we do get a hint at, maybe it's been time, is her belly.
Yes. So in between when he starts writing and then when he finishes, or I guess when he finishes it and then you're right.
Yeah, is she has a full 9-month-old belly.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. People start showing up to the house again.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is where I love this movie, because this is that time dilation we're talking about that is ramped up.
Yes, and just like in Requiem, the last 30 minutes, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah, which again I really like. I guess I'm gravitated towards that. There's in music, I think the final third of most Prince songs I think are the best, because he's throwing everything at it. He's throwing mad vocal ranges. He's throwing all the instruments. He's throwing crazy guitar solos. I like that.
Shout out to Prince.
Shout out to Prince. Oh, may he rest in peace.
Rest in power.
Purple power.
But no, but American Dad's right. He's not dead. He's just trying to learn more about trains.
That's right. So, anyway, I do like the fact that things will ramp up so much.
I did also like the time dilation. Now, how it escalates is, it didn't give me an anxiety attack like Requiem did, but the whole time I was like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
Like, oh my God, will this ever stop?
When will it stop, right?
I get it.
Yeah.
It never stops.
Okay.
Also, we should mention, I just realized, because I've already said it, Kristen Wiig is in this fucking movie.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig's in the movie, which I was like, no way. When she popped up on screen, I think everyone was like, what?
Like, what? Because by this point, she'd established herself as a member of SNL, as a comedian. And
she had left SNL already. She had done Bridesmaids already. She was a star. You know?
And then here she is in this Aronofsky movie.
And we're like, what?
And then she's about to cap some fools.
Which is wild. It's wild that they cast her in it. I guess just to, number one, have a familiar face.
Other than Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem.
Right.
Or maybe in this sequence, we need someone we recognize.
Because I do recognize, I don't remember his character's name.
The Zealot?
Yes, I recognize him because...
So do I.
I love that actor. I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. It's mostly... I like to think it's mostly horror films. Maybe it's not horror films.
Well, we'll look it up afterwards.
Yeah,
or maybe Future Rain will do his homework.
We'll look into it, because I really like him. And then he, of course, ends up being like a quasi-pope prophet, for him, right?
Which, I get it.
Right.
Jesus.
So when she shows up, it's kind of cool, because it's like, oh, no shit. This movie's wild, right?
Yeah.
Because then we have hundreds of people lining up just to sign autographs. And then something with the ink, and he gets it, and he accidentally gets ink on this woman's forehead.
And that became like a mark.
Yes, because then the man after her goes, oh, can you do that to me? And then he goes, oh, sure. And then everyone's got it, right?
Yeah, and I think the Zealot gets it tattooed, because he's got it like almost permanently.
Yeah.
Over his eyebrow.
Right. And so that becomes,
his mark.
Right. Religious symbolism and symbols, things like that. So, which, again, heavy-handed. We get it. But I like it.
I mean, this is the point of the movie where I was the entire time. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, okay, I get it.
So,
yeah. I was literally, because I was watching it on my phone, because Ashley was asleep.
Did you watch the whole thing on your phone?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just laid in bed like this.
I watched it in my brand new media room.
Shut the fuck up. Well, it's mainly just because I didn't want to get up and wake her.
Oh, I get
so I was just like, I'll watch it. And I literally was kind of sitting up and I was just like, oh my God, I get it. I get it.
Now, describe to me, because now we're at, I don't know. Kristen Wiig's character represents whom?
The Herald.
Describe to me what that is.
The Herald is just meant...
I'm unfamiliar with that terminology.
The Herald is just meant as sort of a messenger.
I see.
Shout out to Dune, which we watched again last night.
Yes, we did.
They await the Emperor's Herald. The Herald is just a messenger.
Got it.
To bring the word.
I don't read, so I don't know what that word means. But, so thank you. So she's more of like a not necessarily a disciple, but more of like a hear ye sort of a person.
Yeah,
got it.
Persistently until she starts capping fools.
Yeah,
and then she herself gets capped.
She does.
Well, actually, she gets capped with a bomb.
Yeah, she gets bombed.
But dude, that was.
So yeah, once it starts getting a little crazier, once people start to tear up the house and, prove we were here.
I get it.
Stuff like that. Then the cops show up, and that's wild. But then SWAT shows up, then the army shows up, and then wars start breaking out, then revolutions happen, and then famine, and then persecution, and, prisons start popping up.
Which, the whole time I was like, yeah.
It starts ending up being like, some of it reminded me of Children of Men at one point, right?
Yeah, when they've got the women in the cages.
Yes, in the cages, and then that army guy shows up, and I'm like, oh, is this gonna be a oneer? Because that'd be cool. Like in
when he finds Jennifer Lawrence, and he's like,
Children
"Are
of
you
Men.
okay?"
Like, we gotta get you out of here. It was very Children of Men-esque. But yeah, it's the history of the world. This time, part one. No. So the history of the world starts unfolding in these events from room to room very quickly. And it escalates very fast. And then once she has the baby, things like pause for a second.
Yes, because they are sort of having a...
Because, of course, this is in the Bible, this would be the birth of Christ, right?
Yeah.
And so God sees that he needs another intervention in the world, as the state of it is not going great. We get it. So, and so he sends his one and only son to blah blah blah, die for their sons. So,
yeah. And
so, this I really really liked. I guess just aesthetically is the I guess it would be a church outside that room.
Oh, that almost like the house has been redone.
Yeah, as a church, which again plays to the surrealism that I really like. Even though it's ruined by not having more than one layer, but
yeah.
Once Jennifer Lawrence has the baby and Javier Bardem takes it from her, right? Which that's sort of a, from all that we've seen, it's the dullest the movie gets, because we're just waiting, right, for her to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And so once he takes the baby and presents it to the people that are now living in their house, then it starts getting nuts.
Well, again. Then we get another time dilation, because she's trailing behind the baby. And of course Aronofsky lets us know, like, hey, the baby dies, because we hear the next snap.
Next snap, yeah. And at first I was like, I don't know if they're going to kill that thing. And then I'm like, they have to.
But then when she gets to the altar...
Yes. And then everyone is eating of its flesh.
Which... I get it!
Oh, did you understand that reference?
Wait, were they trying to reference communion?
Yeah, it's communion. It's Eucharist, actually, is the proper nomenclature.
Well...
Right.
Baptist.
Catholic. So
communion.
So right. It is supposed to represent the Eucharist. And and so they're eating of the baby's flesh. And that was gross, right? The baby on the altar.
So I'm going to be real.
It's gross.
I'm going to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be worse.
Okay.
after reading about it and reading articles about the movie,
Yeah.
I was under the impression the baby's was gonna be chopped up. Like
I think in
like
that-
literal talking not Jaws, Saw, dismembered.
Like in that instance, I think that's when reading it ramped it up a little bit because describing it is so much worse than just seeing it in some cases.
Yeah, as we're seeing it was just honestly just a pile of organs.
But if you were to write it down and describe it and gave it to someone to read, they'd be like, "Oh my god!"
Oh my god!
You know?
Yeah, a mutilated baby.
Jesus Christ! And then describing the mutilated baby, right? I mean, that's gross, right?
Yeah.
So, but just seeing it for a split second, you're like, "That wasn't so bad."
It really wasn't. I was like, okay, that's not.
I mean, it's still
It's still
a dismembered baby, but
horrendous, but it's really just sort of a torso and just a bunch of organs.
yeah. Okay. So, then
The mother goes on a killing spree.
right.
Dude, that piece of glass, how that piece of glass held up for that long, that was impressive.
I agree.
Glass is not that strong.
Yeah, I know. And then she torches the place, and then it's over. But I really liked the...
Or we think it's over.
Or we think it's over.
Yeah.
I really liked that, the reveal that this rock, this crystal thing, is her heart, right?
Yeah.
Which plays into the poster, by the way.
Yeah.
And so when he takes it and he places it back, he's restarting, and it's a different girl. So it's a different girl in the very, very beginning.
Yes, because I was like, that doesn't look like Jennifer Lawrence.
Because it isn't.
Because it isn't.
Because it isn't. He's just starting over. And so, and this one, her last name is LaBeouf, which is weird because I don't think any relation.
And she's
to Shia
credited
LaBeouf.
as Mistress.
Yeah, Mistress. So it's, oh man, see if I can remember.
Lauren LaBeouf.
No. I see if I can remember their titles because the first one isn't Mother either. It was like Maiden. It was Maiden, Mother, and Mistress. Yeah,
Huh.
which is interesting.
That is sort of interesting.
Yeah. So, and then of course it's implying that this is a never-ending cycle. That this just happens and happens and happens.
That she will always destroy the house.
I guess, or he will always, overindulge. He will always, give too much of what she has given him away, right? It's supposed to be like sort of that, like giving people free reign to everything he has, which in turn is everything she has given him, right? Which
Yeah.
I think is just exactly what I just said in a different way. But sorry, that was the same thing twice.
You could have also used the quote, right before she torches the place. When he says, "I love you," she goes, "No, you only loved how much I loved you."
Right.
And
Yeah.
And then, of course, at the end when she's like, "I've given you everything," and he's like, "Not everything." Right.
Yeah, and then but the loop reminds me of this like Asimov. I think it's Asimov, short story where when people die, their souls or consciousness is uploaded into this computer thing, and once it happens enough times, and once everyone on Earth dies, right? This gigantic consciousness exists, right, and is able to manipulate things on its own. And then once the Earth dies and disappears, this computer, this consciousness, says, "Let there be light," and that's how the thing ends, right? And so it's sort of like
we're getting deep in this episode.
I know. So it's sort of like implying that once our world ends, was this even the original one? Right, the one that we're living in now. At least that's what I read into it. Which I kind of like. I like the idea of thinking that like there have been other worlds.
I read
that's kind of cool.
I read it as more of,
not that I believe it, but I think it's cool.
I read it more of as it's a cycle. And no matter how hard he tries or what he may change, like if he changes her every time, she will always implode. Which I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it that if what
Or,
Aronofsky
now that I'm thinking about it, or always just be super complicit in her mistreatment, right? She's not, fighting back really. I mean, she does like one or two times until the very end.
Yeah, and when she finally fights back.
Right. And
it's almost, and now that I'm thinking about it, like, it makes sense. I get it.
Oh, you get it now?
If it's like, if I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what she does.
Yeah, I mean...
Except for him.
Listen, man, like... I like this movie. And
I know you
and I like
movie.
that it has its problems, and I've mentioned those problems. I do like that it starts off slow, with...
Yeah.
With the couple. I mean,
granted that, I still had a little bit of problem with that, even though I was still like, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, Michelle's turn towards her, Michelle's sort of... kind to her.
But not really.
She still said some backhand remarks, but then she turns and she's, very callous and very standoffish towards her, especially during the wake.
Right.
When, she's like, I can't imagine what you're going through. Oh, like, you can't imagine what it's like to lose a child, And I'm like, okay, listen.
Yeah, that was mean.
Listen, Catwoman. Okay. No, I would have never said that to Michelle Pfeiffer.
Listen, man. Honestly, the best Catwoman. If I'm being honest with you.
I mean, because technically Anne Hathaway wasn't really Catwoman. She was just Selena Kyle.
Right. And even still. But like starting slow. And then, like in the wake, things start to ramp up a little bit more but then, that's sort of understandable because they're there for a wake and he had invited everybody there. And so there's too many people, but that's understandable, right? Then it gets a little too much. Mm-hmm. And then, the sink breaks, she kicks him out, right?
Yeah.
But then, of course, at the very end, that's when it really... And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those of you who haven't gotten it yet, then you get it.
I would say in comparison, I know I've been bringing up Requiem a lot. Requiem gradually builds up, and then when he hits... when he hits 11, he keeps cranking.
Yeah.
Until finally he's like, all right.
Until the credits.
Now you can breathe.
Boom.
As we're with this, he slow. Sorry if my mic picked that up. My watch thinks I hit my move goal.
Congratulations.
He starts slow and then it builds up, and then he's like, well, now you can breathe for just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, I've given you enough breathing room.
Right.
And then just like with Requiem, and then it finally calms down again.
Yeah.
I think it's because he knew audiences were gonna need breathing time.
Now, here's what's fascinating about this movie in terms of, speaking of audiences. Mm-hmm. This reached a lot of people. And so I think, a movie like this normally wouldn't, right? This didn't get like a Requiem release or like a Pi release or anything like that. This got a big release. This was, I saw this in a big theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, being able to reach that many people, and it being a movie like this, mm-hmm. I think people were expecting more like Noah, which was his movie beforehand, which was a big blockbuster sort of a deal, and it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Big budget sort of thing. And then we get this, which gets a similar release, which is reaching a lot of people, but expecting, kind words afterward from everybody.
Yeah.
He might not also. He might have wanted to be like, this is going to make people upset. Here you go. Well, which is pretentious.
As you kind of stated in last week's episode, it had a screening. He said,
he hadn't been to enough.
I'm sorry for what I'm about to do to you.
Yeah, which, I was hoping he had been to enough screenings, fingers crossed, that he's gotten a lot of negative reviews or negative reactions, right?
Yeah.
To where he was just assuming that was going to happen. I hope this wasn't like one of the first ones and he's just assuming.
Like, yeah.
Right? Like, I made an upsetting movie. Go fuck yourself.
Or he had presented it to the studio and they were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Paramount takes risks, which I appreciate. Another great example would be Annihilation, which I loved, with Natalie Portman
and Oscar
Isaac, which I loved. I thought it was phenomenal sci-fi. A lot of people didn't like it. I think mostly because of the adaptation aspect, not necessarily because of the movie aspect.
There's an adaptation?
It's a book. Yeah. It's a series of books.
Who did that one?
Oh, Alex Garland did Annihilation. He had also done Devs, Ex Machina.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Love Alex Garland to death. I think he's great. And so Paramount takes risks.
Yeah.
You know, which I appreciate, which I love.
Unlike some studios don't.
Yeah, giving this a really wide release was surprising, I think.
You know, and here's the thing. Even though I probably would never watch this again, you know...
You're not going to get it on 4K?
Fuck no.
If I get it on 4K, I'm giving you my Blu-ray.
I will immediately turn around and give it back to
somebody.
Entertainment.
Okay, that's fine.
Not Hastings. But no, like, and if I didn't say it in the Requiem episode, like, Aronofsky, and this is why I love that we've done this for so long, is I'm seeing that a lot of directors that we talk about, they want to make the movie that they want to make.
Yeah.
Fuck you, we're going to do it anyway.
Right. And sometimes that works. I mean, sometimes it's great.
Shout out to our Green Knight episode.
But sometimes, a la Richard Kelly, a la director's cut of Donnie Darko, it sucks, you know, and it's worse.
But I don't fault Aronofsky for going the way he wanted to go. Like, he wanted to tell this story,
right? And he wanted to put out like a sort of like acid trip PSA.
Yeah, like, hey, treat Mother Earth right.
It's like, you know, like...
Don't call Mother Earth a cunt. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, guys. Hey, guys, be nice.
How many times that they used that, I was like...
Yeah, it was like more than once.
I was like, I'm sorry.
And I recognize that guy, too.
The guy who's like, here, just take my number.
Yeah. I don't remember who... I've seen him in a bunch of things, but I recognize that. And, of course, the guy who goes to their bedroom with that girl.
Oh, who's like, oh yeah, let's do this in college when he's painting.
Yeah, I love him. He was in The Leftovers.
He's just credited as cupbearer.
Yeah, he's in Watchmen, the show. Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Love him. Love that actor. But and he was in the new Stand remake.
With Alexander Skarsgård.
Yeah.
Which I've heard is not good.
No, we'll get into that later.
But anyway, so I can't fault him for this was his vision. Mm-hmm. He wanted to make this PSA, but at the same time, it's my same thought to Ari Aster and his student film. There's something with the Johnsons.
Something strange about the Johnsons.
Yes,
so good.
I get it, especially after we talked about it.
Yeah.
Because at the time I wasn't getting it, but then I got it. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I read his interview about it. And considering, now, sidebar, that was his student film.
So
that
good.
That was his final to get his degree in film.
It's so good.
And so I get it. Yeah. I understand that, like, he wanted it to be uncomfortable, and I can't fault him for that.
Right.
But the question I have is, why did you feel like you were the one to do it?
Right.
Same question to Aronofsky. Like, look, I get it. This was your vision. Good on you.
But see, now I would counter argue, who would be the right person?
True.
I think that if you feel strongly enough about something, and you think that you have a good take on it, why not? You know.
I mean, that's true because
for instance, Ari Aster's. Look.
And as we talked about, you know, with the sidebar with Ari Aster, as we talked about with Hereditary, you know, Hereditary and Midsummer has an underlining meaning to it. You know, Hereditary is, and shout out to the H24 podcast, even Elijah Wood picked up on it, that it's a family drama. It's not a horror, it's a family drama.
And he doesn't, Ari Aster was like, it's not a horror movie.
And isn't Midsummer, he doesn't really consider it a horror movie.
I think he considers it more than Hereditary.
It's more than but having a lot of people said it's more about a deteriorating relationship.
It is about that. It's about a lot of things. But here's the deal. Here's the difference. Is that everything makes sense.
In Midsummer?
Yeah, everything makes sense in Midsummer and everything makes sense in Hereditary, no matter which layer you peel back. And you take away.
As where this one.
If you take away a layer, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's over.
But yeah, man, it just, like, it is a very pretentious movie.
I ended up being harder on this movie than I was expecting to be, but
I think it's my fault.
No, but I still like it. It's, I'm not going to be its defendant or anything, but I like it. I'm not
going to be Ed Dickel, Ultimate Showman.
Yeah, I'm not this thing's lawyer, but there are movies that I will fight tooth and nail for. This is not one of them. I just like it.
I mean, again, like I said, there's the things about it I really appreciate.
Yeah.
I get it. That counter's gonna be so high.
I
had to actually, normally when I edit these, I don't have to sit and watch the entire thing. I had to sit and watch the entire thing. So I'm gonna probably have to do that again.
Well, and then you have to edit the thing.
Well, see, luckily the audio is just super simple. Just the video, yeah. But,
yeah.
But it's just like, but why? I think that's my biggest question from the movie is why?
Yeah.
Why anything? Like, I get it. It's a PSA. Yeah. Yes, we need to respect the planet because we only have one planet. And I absolutely agree.
Putting Little Dicky to me.
What?
There's only one planet. Isn't that the song? Anyway.
Well, it's called Earth, but Earth. Yeah, he made it for Earth Day. But,
yeah.
But it's just like yes, we do need to preserve like our oceans, and we need to quit doing landfills and reduce. There's a lot that we need to fix. But a movie like this isn't going to help.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's going to piss people off more.
I think it's going to turn people off. You're right, more on environmentalism and things, because it's already a hard sell, environmentalism.
Yeah.
Doing this on top of that is like, come on.
Yeah,
people are really going to hate him now.
Yeah, especially, where we live, conservatives, they don't believe in environmentalism. They think the fucking, what is it? They think something is a myth. One of the global warming. That's it. They think global warming is a myth. It's not, especially in West Texas. Yeah. The sun is directly over us. But yeah, you
and I both know what global warming means, but that's fine.
But anyway, but it's just like,
yeah, yep, that was Mother, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So again, it's a tough sell to get anybody to watch this thing, but, I
mean, okay, look. Do I appreciate the fact that I have now finally seen it? Because I did say after we did Requiem, I wanted to watch more Aronofsky.
Yeah.
Of course, you gave me one of your copies of Black Swan. Yeah. I'll probably get to that later on. Nice. I probably won't watch Noah, just because I've heard it's also very pretentious.
You could skip it. It is. But there's cool stuff in there. Like, there's a cool idea that I presented to my Bible study group. I used to be one of those.
My God. I bet they were like...
In college.
I bet they were like, wow, dude, are you even Catholic? When you said, they probably were like, is this guy even Catholic?
Well, they were Church of Christ.
Oh my God.
But they were like hip Church of Christ. Anyway, it was Keegan's group. Anyway, so,
all right, then they get a pass now.
Yeah. So, I had told them that because I really liked the idea of this, and, I told them this isn't my original thought, but I really like the idea of Noah having survivor's guilt, right? The idea
because I did...
Because you were, like you were just saying, why does Aronofsky be the one to tell the story? Uh-huh. Why Noah feels the same way about it? Why me? Why did I survive?
Yeah, I did read that Noah, in the movie, that Noah contemplated almost killing himself, and then they stopped him.
Yeah, because, he feels unworthy. It's survivor's guilt, classic survivor's guilt. And I like the concept. I like the idea of that. I like the idea of exploring this person not just as a Bible story, but as a person. I like that. The movies are pretentious.
Yeah.
But I like that.
But yeah. So are you ready to wrap up?
Yes.
Wrap. Look, again, I appreciate it. Now I've got 2 Aronofsky movies under my belt.
Yep.
Will I ever watch this or purchase it?
I recommend for your next one, maybe Pie. Fucking good. The Wrestler, amazing.
I've been wanting to watch that one because, I mean, even though Mickey Rourke is also batshit crazy now,
not in this one, he's good.
Oh no, what I'm saying is, that he claims that Harvey Weinstein didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
but fuck Bill Cosby.
Yeah, I mean, he's a wild guy, all right, but he's a knucklehead, man. I'm not gonna give you.
Knuckle.
Yeah, he's a real rascal. That guy. I'm not gonna. I'm not going to dispute that, but I will say that his performance in The Wrestler is
Didn't he almost get an Oscar for it?
amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, man, and, you know, I get it.
Yeah.
Last one.
Last one. All right, man. What are we talking about next week?
All right, man. So,
You were pretty stoked about this.
yes, because I watched this movie on my own volition because I'd been thinking about it. Because it is... I feel like you and I are beginning to mind meld because it's kind of funny that you brought up Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah.
Next week, we're talking about A Single Man.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. A Single Man.
Yes.
I wrote a paper on this in college.
So, again, shout out to our season 2 premiere, the first official Reservations with Rain and Jeremy episode. Tom Ford's second movie. Yeah, man, the other day I was just really thinking about Tom Ford and I was thinking about Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah.
And I was like, what was that other movie he did? And I was like, yeah, Single Man, that's it. And then I read the synopsis. I didn't want to know anything. I was like, you know, if the synopsis grabs me, I'll watch it. Mm-hmm. And it did.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's go. It's on Netflix. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
I loved immediately.
Dude.
From the opening shot, I was like...
The musical score...
From Abel...
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that Tom linked back up with him to do Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah, I mean, I have that vinyl in my office, the Nocturnal Animals.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I loved it. It was...
And again, it's just so amazing. This guy makes clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, and that's what sparked my... my want to look into the movie because I was talking to one of my employees about him. And I was like, you know, I'd love to get a suit from Tom Ford. I wonder how much it is. An evening jacket that I looked up.
Just jacket.
Future Rain put up the picture of it. It's $5,000. $5,000 for... I mean, it's fly as hell, though.
He's got a Jay-Z song for a reason.
Yeah.
All right.
But then I was like, okay, yeah, what was that other movie he did? And
yeah,
I love the cast.
Yeah.
I'm not super into movies that happen over the span of one day, but this is perfect.
Yeah.
It's
got Baby Beast.
Yeah. Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah, it's got Baby Beast in it. It's got
Ozymandias.
Yeah, Ozymandias. It sure does have Ozymandias.
Matthew Good.
Yeah.
It's got Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
And of course, our boy Colin Firth.
Colin Firth, man, so good.
I
very much love A Single Man. Good job, Rain.
I knew you were gonna be proud of me.
Good job, Rain.
I knew you were gonna be proud of me. Yeah, man. Can't wait to talk about it. I told my mom about it after I watched it. I was like, you have to see it.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'll look at it. I was like, no. It's on Netflix. Watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we hope everyone enjoyed Mother, and we will see you next week for A Single Man.
Also, sorry about the more Patti Smith.